Hello again, everybody, and welcome again to an edition of Koopa Fantasy Football. I'm going to do another one of my videos where I recap the preseason action. If you want to read the articles in full, they are posted on my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com. Feel free to check it out, vote, comment, rate any video. All the feedback really helps me out, helps me get out there on the Google searches and stuff like that, the more views I see. So I'm gonna get right into it because I only have a lot of time with these videos and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm gonna go with the most recent games, the first games that happened over the last weekend. So Giants versus Bears. The Giants had a big win on the scoreboard, but they suffered some pretty big losses otherwise. Eli Manning didn't play a whole lot, but he was a lot more effective than he was in the first preseason game. He finished 8 of 16 for 78 yards. David Carr, as a replacement, was 9 of 11 for 84 yards and 2 TDs, actually. So David Carr looked really good late in the game. Giants running backs were really big this game. Brandon Jacobs led the way. He had 48 yards on 6 carries. He had an 18-yard TD. Juan Bradshaw had 15 yards on 5 carries. Rookie running back Terrell Scott. Took his only carry of the day, 97 yards in the fourth quarter for a TD. It was a very impressive run. He almost wiped out his own 1 yard line, got back up, and went 97 yards. For wide receivers, Dominic Hickson had a TD pass in this game from David Carr. Mario Manningham was pretty productive, 39 yards and 4 catches, while second-year wide receiver Victor Cruz had 3 catches for 40 yards. If you watched preseason last year, you probably know who Victor Cruz is because he was a beast in preseason last year. He's looked good again this year, so I would not be surprised if they threw him in the regular season. Since they don't have Steve Smith now, he could be the third part of that trifecta with Manningham, Nix, and throw Cruz in there. It'll probably be him or Hickson. Those of you who play IDPs, the Giants just lost their leading tackler from last season, Terrell Thomas, which is huge for them. It's going to suck. Can only hurt their secondary. Yeah, he blew his ACL, so if you play IDP leagues, it's a pretty big loss for them. The Bears, Jay Cutler looked better than week 1, but same as week 1, he was running around a lot just to get his throws off. His line wasn't giving him too much protection. He had 171 yards in the first half, though, so he was throwing. Marion Barber, running back, saw the bulk of the carries for the Bears. He had 13 carries for 49 yards. Matt Forte only ran the ball 4 times for 7 yards, but he did catch the ball once, took it 42 yards down the field. He had a very nice cutback. Third-year running back Khalil Bell had 10 yards on his 4 carries. So the Bears threw the ball quite a bit in this one, having been behind most of the game. Earl Bennett led the way with 58 yards. I really like this Earl Bennett guy. I hope they use him a lot this year. Devin Hester had 46 yards on 3 catches, while Johnny Knox had 21 yards on 2 catches. Roy Williams had a few drops. Just don't tell him he said that. And he was kept off the stat sheet. Some notables for this game: Brandon Jacobs, Earl Bennett, Matt Forte, Dominic Hickson. Guys who struggled are Roy Williams, and making a name for themselves are Victor Cruz, Terrell Scott, Khalil Bell. You can read, like I said, any of these recaps if you want to read in full. I'm just going to fly through this, try to keep this video a bit shorter. Just check out koopafantasy.wordpress.com if you want to read the articles in full. Moving on to the Jets and Cincy. Mark Sanchez looked pretty good. He was 12 of 20 for 173 yards and 2 TDs. Led his team to 17 points. Daniel Tomlinson carried the ball 9 times. Only really gained 16 yards though. Sean Green didn't carry the ball at all. Second-year Chris Jennings had 69 yards. He had a 69-yard carry, sorry, and it gave him an 81-yard total on his 4 carries. Tight end Dustin Keller was pretty impressive. He had 4 catches for 81 yards. Santonio Holmes and Plaxico Burress each had 3 catches. Plaxico caught a TD. So pretty nice day for Jets players, really. Their defense looked good as well as they picked off Bengals QBs 3 times, had a sack and a forced fumble. Bengals struggled. They're a rebuilding team, so they're gonna struggle a lot this year. Andy Dalton was pretty shaky again. He was 8 of 19 for 86 yards through 2 picks. Both picks pretty much came from overthrown balls, so that's something he's going to need to work on. Bruce Gradkowski wasn't much better, really. He was 2 of 7 for 50 yards in a pick when he came in. Not a whole lot from Bengals running backs either. Benson had 7 carries for 14 yards, while 50-year Brian Leonard had 16 yards and a TD on 5 carries. Wide receivers struggled too. What do you expect when your QB struggle? Andre Caldwell led the team with 50 yards and 2 catches. Jordan Shipley had 20 yards on 3 catches. A.J. Green had 1 catch on the day. Moving on to San Diego Chargers, Dallas Cowboys. Phillip Rivers was pretty good. It was 20-7, by the way, for the Chargers. Phillip Rivers was on top of his game again. He led his team to 17 first half points. 8 of 11, 92 yards and a TD. Ryan Matthews looked good, 35 yards on 7 carries. He scored a TD. And Michael Tolbert had 16 yards on 5 carries and a 10-yard catch. So good game for these guys. Benson Jackson had 49 yards with 3 receptions. I love Benson Jackson. I won my as a fantasy, I do quite a few fantasy leagues, obviously. There's one of them with my friends that I try my hardest because it's your friends. You want to kick the crap out of them. And he led me to a champ. Well, not led me, but he helped me win a championship 2 years ago. And ever since then, I love Benson Jackson. This guy's a highlight reel. He just looks like he has so much skill. Last season was obviously a bit of a hindrance for him. He didn't play a lot. But I'm expecting big things again from Benson Jackson this year. Nate Gating was a bit of a beast from a kicking point of view. He had a 53-yarder field goal. Very nice. The Cowboys. Romo saw a lot more playing time this week. He threw an early pick, but he came back, finished 8 of 11, 8 of 12, 58 yards and a TD. He was replaced by Stephen McGee, who once again actually looked pretty good. Romo connected with Jason Witten for the TD. Running back Felix Jones looked really good. He had 56 yards and 7 carries. He's looking to have a way better season than in 2010, where he didn't really play a whole lot. Coming into his 4th season, he has the potential to be the primary ball carrier for Dallas. And if you look around the internet, read up on Felix Jones, we're actually kind of expecting some pretty big things from him this year. Now he's looking good and he's healthy. Wide receiver Miles Austin didn't play in this one. It was a lot of the backups being thrown into the mix. Second year, Emmanuel Johnson had 2 receptions for 35 yards. Jason Witten caught the TD pass on 3 catches, 17 yards. Des Bryant only had 2 catches for 13 yards, and he did drop a third down conversion at one point that forced his team to punt. That was not very nice. So that's it for this game. You can go on to the blog and check out all the notable players if you want to recap. So now we're moving on to what is this next game? I believe it's Tennessee, Houston Texans, and New Orleans Saints. Actually, sorry. And we're up to 7.5 minutes, so I'm going to try to get 2 more in here before the 15-minute mark, and then I'll probably finish this up in another video. So Texans won this game 27-14. We got to see Arian Foster for the first time this season, and he looked good. People are talking about him again, talking about him being a #1 draft pick again, because he looked good in this game. He had 47 yards and only 5 carries, including a 28-yard TD run. So the naysayers, this goes against anything you have to say, really. Arian Foster looked very good in this one. Andre Johnson was also on top of his game. He went for 100 yards in preseason action and only 4 catches, including a 48-yard catch at one point. Running back Brandon Tate looked very good in this. He had 95 yards on 9 carries and had a 13-yard reception. QB Matt Shaw was solid. He went 12 of 16, 163 yards. So the Houston Texans offense was really firing in this one. The defense also looked very strong, which is what their team has lacked for a few years now. They've always had the offense, they needed the defense, and they came up big in this one. They sacked Drew Brees a few times when Chase Daniels came in. I think they sacked him and forced a fumble on him. For the Saints, Drew Brees played about a quarter of action. It wasn't particularly effective, 7 of 14, 109 yards. Nothing bad. Nothing great, though. There wasn't a lot of offense for them. Mark Ingram, the rookie running back, scored another TD. So I think it's 2 in his 2 preseason games. He had 25 yards total on 7 carries. Pierre Thomas added 33 yards on 6 carries. The young rookie wide receiver Joe Morgan, who had a really very, very nice punt return last week. He had a 56-yard TD catch this week from Chase Daniels, so usually continuing to make his case to stay on their very stacked roster. He looks to have some blistering speed, and he beat a defender at one point with a sick little juke, and he just never looked back. And he was wide open by the time Chase Daniels laced him this 50-yard bomb. Robert Meacham was in the mix with 1 catch, 43 yards, while tight end Jimmy Graham and Lance Moore each had 2 catches for about, I think, somewhere in the 20-30-yard range, respectively. So that's it for this game. We're going to move on to San Fran and Oakland Raiders. Alex Smith struggled. Jason Campbell got banged up in this. So Alex Smith, he finished the game 8 of 13, 126 yards to a pretty ugly interception. The rookie QB, Colin Kaepernick, he came in relief, went 6 of 8, 52 yards. Frank Gore only saw 4 carries in this, but he had 21 yards in the process, while behind him, Kendall Hunter had 9 carries for 105 yards. Including a 53 yard TD run in that 100 yards he ran. While third-year running back Xavier Oman had 62 yards and 14 carries. So Frank Gordon ran a lot. It was most of these backups who actually had very nice days. Braylon Edwards made his debut for the team. Him and Josh Morgan each hauled in 2 catches for 46 yards for Braylon, 40 yards for Morgan, respectively. The defense was led by Patrick Willis. They looked pretty damn good in this game. They had 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, pressured the QB a whole lot this game. They looked really good. Raiders, Jason Campbell was 5-7 for 74 yards before he left the game after getting banged up on a play. He got hauled down and just got banged up a little. Nothing too serious, I don't believe. Backups Cal Bowler and Trent Edwards each threw a pick in relief. Oakland's running game didn't have much success either. They were led by Michael Bush, who had 26 yards on 6 carries. Derek Hagan had 3 receptions for 32 yards, while Darius Hayward-Bay had 40 yards and 2 catches. It's not a whole lot from Oakland here. Moving on to St. Louis and the Titans. Sam Bradford continues to impress. This kid's just going to be a stud. In his first game, he aired the ball out, or his first play of the game, he aired the ball out 83 yards to wide receiver Daniel Gibson for a TD. He ended up finishing 8-15 for 138 yards and a TD, and the interception, though the interception did come off a touched pass. Steven Jackson saw his first preseason action, and he was able to have 10 yards on 6 carries, while their new backup, Cadillac Williams, had 23 yards on 6 carries. Other than Daniel Gibson, not many other Ram receivers got involved in, or many other Ram receivers got involved in this. Mike Sims Walker had a catch for 23 yards. I'm really hoping to see a lot from Sims Walker this year. While Donnie Avery had 2 catches for 23 yards and he caught a TD. For the Titans, Matt Hasselbeck started the game and he looked pretty good. He finished 7-9 for 74 yards. He took a big hit and left the game, kind of same with Jason Campbell. Rookie Jake Locker came in. He struggled a bit, finished 8-18 for 82 yards and a pick. Chris Johnson still up in the air. He didn't play. So they are really going to have to work out their backups and see if they don't even have Chris Johnson this year. A 4th round pick, Jamie Harper, had 11 carries, 83 yards and a TD. He added a 24-yard catch, while second-year Stephon Johnson had 68 yards and 11 carries. So it looks like they do have some options at depth at running back. Third-year tight end Jared Cook continues to develop into a very nice tight end. He led the Titans in yards, 54 on 3 catches, and he had a very impressive 29-yard grab right inside the 5-yard line instead of a TD. So let me see what time we're at here, guys. Sorry, we're at 12 minutes. I'm going to end this video, post it. Guys, like it, subscribe to me if you end up coming across this in your YouTube searches. Check out my blog at koopafantasy.wordpress.com. I really appreciate it. All the feedback, all the support helps me get out there, helps me feel as though this is actually not a waste of my time. I enjoy doing it. Hopefully you guys enjoy viewing and reading about it. So much. That's it for now. I'm going to post this and get to doing the second half of it. Peace, guys.